Hello friends, welcome back to the Business Guruji. Please click on the subscribe button to get the latest videos from our channel. Continuing with our previous discussion on the offset function, today we will see how to create a range with offset, and we'll see how we have created some of the examples and graphs. Let us now see how do we create a range with offset. We'll use the function offset. Reference is ID number. I will freeze it using the F4 function. I will reference it to rows 1 and I'll reference it to column 1. That means it has moved from ID number to 1001 with when I referenced rows, and when I referenced the columns it moved to John. Now if you can see, Excel is asking the height and the width, which are optional. So if I have to select this whole range, so I will select height as 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So I've selected height as 5, and if I have to select both name and sales, I will click width as 2. So that means my whole range is being selected. Now because Excel cannot show all these 10 cells into one cell, so I will tell you quickly how we can see this if our selection made is correct. I have copied this formula. I will press Ctrl F3 and I will add a new name. So I will give a name as test, and I will paste the same formula which I have created. So you can see the test name is created, and if I click on this button I can see that this range is being selected. Now if I change it from 2 to 1, my range will change accordingly. So like we have seen in the previous example, we can create it dynamic, and this using offset function the range can change automatically. Now let us see quickly how we can create a dynamic drop-down list using offset. So I will recreate the first list. So let me quickly revise. So the first drop-down list is the range 1, which is the country. So if I select any country, the drop-down list for the state changes accordingly as per the range 2. So I will recreate it for you to understand quickly. So I will go to the data tab. I will go to data validation, and here I will change from any value to the list, then source would be the range which I want. Now I'll press the OK button. So if you can see, we have 4 countries. I'll select first country. Now to create the second drop down list, we will have to work on offset function. We will, before going to the data validation, we will create the function here, the formula. So the reference would be US. I'll press F4 to freeze it. Now how many rows do it has to go? It has to move down by 1. So I'll press 1. Now how many columns does it has to offset? So offsetting will depend on the country selected. So I will use again the match function. I'll lookup value would be this, which is J9. Selecting list for range 1. Lookup array would be the name of the countries. I'll press the F4 button to freeze it, and match type would be accurate. So if I see what it has done, it will match J9 US with this range. It will return value as 1, so it will offset it by 1 column. So I'll press -1 so that it reduces to 0 and it doesn't offset anything. Now if I press comma, the height would be 5 because we have all the 5 states. So I'll press 5 as height and I'll close the function. So now I'll copy this function totally. I'll go again to data and data validation. I'll select the range where I want to move it. I'll go to data and data validation. and instead of any value I will go to the list and I'll press the paste button, so it chooses only those value which we want. I'll press OK. Now if you see, it has selected those 5 states against each country. So if I now go to Canada, the states will change accordingly. Similarly for Mexico and Brazil. Now it might also happen that your range is not a constant. So in the above function we saw that the range was constant to 5, but in the below you see that your value is changing. In US we have 5 states, in Canada we have 6, in Mexico we have 3. So if you see, in Mexico we have 3, but if I add any more, let me add Jalisco, so the list will change accordingly. It will add Jalisco. If I delete Jalisco, it will remove it from here. So that means the column, the height function is made variable. That is why we are able to create a dynamic list. Now I will show you how to create this as well. I will recreate this below. I will go to data validation. The first source would be the range 1. For second source, we will again recreate the same formula, equal to offset. Reference is US. I'll freeze it using the F4 button. Column reference would be 1. Rows reference would be 1, sorry. And column reference would be a match function. Lookup value is range 1 drop down. Lookup array is range 2, and I'll use the exact match. And I'll also press -1, similar to the logic described above. Now we have to select the height. So height would depend on the number of states that we have. That means we will have to use the count function to count each of the states against each range. So I'll use count A, which is used for counting the text, and then we shall guide Excel on what is to be counted. So the range, because it's dynamic, it will move with each country. So I'll use the offset function again, copying the same formula, and and offs so I'll use the offset function in count. So reference is D14, rows is offsetted by 1, columns are offsetted by the country, and height I will put it as 10. So if I'm anticipating that rows cannot go more than 10, I'm put 10. So if I anticipate that the rows will go up to 20, I will use 20. So for now I'm using 10, and width would be 0. So let me show you what count A function has done. I will copy it again, and I will paste the same function which I have used. So if you see, US, it has given the range as 5, but if I select Canada, it has given the range as 6. If I select Mexico, it gives me 3, and if I add another state, it gives me count as 4. So that means we have created a dynamic height range based on the number of states we have in each. That means our formula is right. I will copy this formula, and I will go to select state. I'll move to data validation, and then I will click on list, and I'll paste the same formula there. Now we have the dynamic list created. for each of the states. So in our next video, we will see how to create the dynamic graphs using offset function and how we can make it more interactive as per the requirement of, of the user. So stay tuned. See you in next video. Bye.